As we are at the leg of preparation and the exam is at the corner, it's very crucial for every NEET aspirant to polish up their skills and work on the time left behind. So here I am to talk about NEET last minute revision tips. For your information, we have come up with all the important topics and all the subjects of NEET examination, which is given in the link below. You can just check in for this description box, download and get benefited. With no more delay, let's get started to the video. Hey ardent learners, this is Caroline Green from Biotechnica. As a NEET aspirant, you might have had solid months of preparation. You might have had your goals, vision, mission, many strategies, and you might have implemented, and now we are marching towards success. Go up and never stop. With this note, I'm going to start this video. Let's proceed on. So let's talk about NEET exam pattern. We know that this examination is for 3 hours and it comprises of 3 subjects, which is going to be physics, chemistry, biology together. We have botany separately and zoology separately. And if we are going to talk about physics, physics is going to have section A and section B. And in section A, there's going to be 35 questions, and for every correct answer, you are going to get 4 marks. And for every wrong answer, there is going to be a deduction of 1 mark. So it's going to be 140 marks for section A in physics. And in case of section B, there are going to be 15 questions, but out of 15 questions, you can choose any 10 questions. You can choose any 10 questions. So for every correct answer, it's going to be 4. So totally, it's going to be 40 marks. If there is also going to be a negative mark, which is going to be 1. And the next is going to be chemistry. Chemistry also has 2 sections, which is going to be section A and section B. In section A, the same goes, which is going to be 35 questions, and for every correct answer, you are going to get 4 marks. So total, it's going to be 140. And in section B, there are going to be 15 questions, but out of 15 questions, you are going to solve only 10 questions. And for every correct answer, 4. So totally, it's going to be 40 marks. So if we have to talk about physics, it's going to be 180 marks. And for chemistry, it's going to be 180 marks. And then we come to this biology sections. So in botany, we have section A and section B. Here also, we have 35 questions. And for every correct answer, you are going to get 4 marks. And in section B, the same goes over here. Out of 15 questions, you are going to solve only 10 questions. And for every correct answer, you will get 4 marks. So 40 marks again. The same goes for zoology. 35 questions. And then 10 questions you're going to choose from it. So totally, in botany, you are going to have 180 marks. And zoology, you're going to have 180 marks. So in biology alone, you are going to get 360 marks. So the total comes around 720 marks. If you score above 620 plus marks, then you can get any of the top medical colleges in India. Yes. So if I'm not going to attempt any question, yes, if you're not going to attempt any questions, unattempted or unanswered questions, there is not going to be any kind of marks. Okay. So I'm going to talk about the tips during your last minute revision. So the tip number 1 is going to be create a realistic timetable, including time breaks. So I have planned for a daily one. You can also plan it for a month. So 5 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock, you can study physics. It's up to you to have your subjects accordingly. I have my own plans for you, which is going to be physics in the morning, which is going to be 5 to 9 a.m. And from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., you can have your breakfast and you can refresh yourself. Take a break. And 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., you can concentrate either botany or zoology. Here I've mentioned botany. So you're going to spend almost 2 hours for botany. And 12 o'clock till 12:30 in the afternoon, you can again have a break. You can relax yourself. You can go for a walk. So you can spend half an hour for it. The next 12:30 to 2 p.m., you are going to study chemistry. You are going to study chemistry again. And then 2 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. again, you can have a break. You can have your lunch for almost half an hour. And to 4:30 for almost 2 hours. Again, you are going to study biology. Here I have mentioned zoology. After that, again, you can go in for a break. And after 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock, you can study chemistry, which can be organic or inorganic or physical chemistry according to your own plan. And 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, you can again go in for revision. It can be either of physics or it can be either of chemistry or whatever you have studied during the entire day. And 8 to 8:30, you can go in for your dinner, and after that, if you want to study anything apart from it, you can study, or you can just go in for practice questions after that moment, at least for half an hour. And then very important thing is you need to have a sleep of 7 to 8 hours. 7 to 8 hours of sleep is a must. So this is the plan that I have for you for your daily routine. And tip number 2, yes, Rivet on NCERT. It's very important when it comes to biology. Please stick on to NCERT because every line, every paragraph, everything is important in your NCERT book. So do not ever skip NCERT textbook, whatever it's going to be. And revise all the important points that you have studied in your classes. Always make a stick notes, which is going to be really helpful for you. And summarize all the important concepts, important points that you have studied so far and make it into a stick notes and stick it onto your book or into the note that you have. This is really important. So Rivet onto your NCERT. Please don't refer most of the books at the last moment. So stick onto your NCERT when it comes to biology very specifically. Tip number 3, yes. Make short notes. This is really important. This you have to understand it clearly. Yes. What can I do? How can I do this short notes? Short notes will also help you in revising difficult topics, very difficult topics and important topics easily at the last minute. So you cannot read the entire NCERT book at the last moment. So you need to make your own short notes. It's very important. And this short note shouldn't be that much elaborate. It has to be very concise. It has to be very concise enough so that you can put all the information in one page or in one note as quick as possible. Okay, so I'm going to talk about how can you make a short notes. Let's take biology as an example and we'll study about it. So I'm going to talk about human reproduction, or we can say human. In case of male, we are going to talk about reproductive structures. Okay, so in your NCERT book, you will be having like a paragraph which is given there. So at the last minute, you cannot read the entire paragraph. So what you can do, you can make a short notes, or you can have a mind maps, or you can go in for any kind of flow charts or diagrams, whichever is easy for you. So I'll give you one example where you can talk about it. When we are talking about male reproductive structures, how does the sperm actually get transported? So let's make a flow chart so that at the last moment, it will be easy for our revisions. Yes, so we can write sperm, which is going to be a haploid cell which goes through seminiferous tubules. You can make a flow chart like this: seminiferous tubule, and then the sperm enters through retitestis, and then you can write vasa efferentia, epididymis, and then vas deferens, ejaculatory duct, urethra, and urethral meatus. This is actually given in our book in the form of a paragraph. So you cannot read it at the last moment. So you can have a flow chart like this. So they can ask you questions like list out the correct sequences. So this will be useful at the last moment. Apart from that, there might be questions like what's the role of Leydig cells or Sertoli cells. I'm going to give you an example how you can make short notes or flow charts and all this thing. Suppose if I'm talking about hypothalamus, and the hypothalamus is going to produce a hormone. We already know gonadotrophin releasing hormone. So it's going to secrete gonadotrophin. releasing hormone. And this hormone is going to stimulate the anterior part of the pituitary. Anterior pituitary, which is adenohypophysis. And this anterior part of the pituitary is going to secrete two hormones, LH or ICHS, and then FSH. And this hormone is actually going to be transported to the interstitial cells, or we can say Leydig cells. Leydig cells. And after stimulating this Leydig cells, then comes the major role of testosterone, which is a male hormone, which is responsible for all the characters in males. And if we have to talk about FSH, FSH is going to stimulate Sertoli cells. Sertoli cells. And this Sertoli cells is actually present in seminiferous tubule. Seminiferous tubules, and this plays a very important role. This is the one which is responsible for spermatogenesis, production of sperms. And they also produce a hormone called inhibin. And they also produces androgen binding protein. Binding protein. So you can make some short notes or flow charts and you can understand like this way at the last minute preparation, because you cannot go through your entire book at the last moment. So you can also make accordingly. And if I have to talk about something apart from it, you can also go in for mnemonics. It's very important that if you are going in for mnemonics. So I'll give you another example so that it will be easy for you. So if you're studying biology, it's important to have mnemonics. So I'm going to take some examples for your understanding. So oil rig. We know oil rig is oil is going to be oxidation, which is going to be loss of electrons. So have such kind of mnemonics at the last minute of preparations so that it will be very easy for you. Loss of electrons. And rig is reduction, gain of electrons. Gain of electrons. And you can also go in for many other mnemonics which is given. I'm going to give you another example. Private Tim Hall. So this private Tim Hall, you can remember it for essential amino acids. Essential amino acids. In biomolecules, there would be questions based on this. So you can remember like this. So phenylalanine. You can remember phenylalanine. So you can have mnemonics like this. And this is going to be valine. And this is going to be threonins. And this is going to be tryptophan. Tryptophan. And this is going to be isoleucine. And M is going to be methionine. I'm going to write everything together here. Methionine. Histidine. Arginine. We can write everything together. Histidine. Arginine. Lysine and leucine. So like this way, it would be very easy for you to understand during your last minute preparation. You can also take example like citric acid cycle, where people used to forget the product. So you can also remember this one. Citrate is Krebs stable substrate for making oxaloacetic acid. Okay, you can remember like this way. C is referring to citrate, and I, you have to remember isocitrate, the next product we used to write in a cycle. So just remember like this way, which would be very, very easy for you if you know the mnemonics. So citrate, isocitrate, and then alpha ketoglutarate, and then there's going to be succinate, and then succinyl CoA, and then there's going to be fumarate, and then you can remember malate, and finally oxaloacetic acid. I'm writing oxaloacetic acid as OA. Like this way you can remember the entire pathway, which is going to be citric acid cycle or Krebs cycle. Another important thing, whenever you're studying biology or anything, you should remember every word in it. I told you one example I'm going to give you. So when you're making notes, it's very important to underline and write it in a stick notes. The next comes tip number 4. Kingpin on important equations, formulas and diagram. When it comes to physics, an easy way is by making tables. When you make tables for formulas, equation, whether it is physics or whether it's chemistry, and very important, after making a tabulation, stick on to the area which you can actually see over, so that whenever you see, you will not forget it. You will ultimately gonna revise it again and again. The next important thing, diagrams. So diagrams you usually see in botany, or we can say botany and zoology, or we can say it's going to be in biology. So diagram practice is a must now. You have to, when you're at the revision time, diagram practice is a must. Learn the labelings. So in your examination, they'll be giving you a diagram and they may ask you to find out A, B, C. So what you have to do, you should remember every labeling that is given in your NCERT book. This is very important. Make a tabulation for all the equations, formulas for physics as well as for chemistry, and make sure to study every labelings in the diagram. Very important. Tip number 5, practice as many online mock tests or any mock test and solve lot of previous year question papers. This is very important. When you're going to solve lot of previous year question papers, more number of questions, you will get to know the insight. You will get to know the insight, what type of questions will be asked in the NEET examination. So this is very important when you are at the final revision. Without practicing question, without your mock test, it's going to be very difficult. So make sure to practice as many questions as possible and take a full length test and practice accordingly. The next one, as you keep on practicing, you are going to gain or boost your confidence level. That's where you have to face the exam temperament. We are going to talk in detail about it. What's the tip number 6? Tip number 6 is very important. Yes, you can see it over here. Work on rejection and not on selection. Yes. This is very important. Rejects questions unable to solve. When you are at the examination hall and if you are seeing questions, if you are seeing any question that you are unable to solve, please skip the question. So go in for rejection method. And reject options when you are not very sure about it. Suppose there are going to be 4 options, and if 2 options are not applicable for the question, you can reject the option and select the correct one. Reject unimportant topic. When you're studying, please don't refer to topics which is not important or which are going to be kind of very lengthy and it will hinder your time period. So reject all those things and then you can go in for the selection procedures. Next tip. Tip number 7. Choose right method of solving question. It's very important when you're going to solve question, you need to approach in a holistic way. Yes. So most beneficial method is shortest one, shortcuts. Going for shortcuts when it comes to physics or chemistry or whether it's going to be biology. Why we are telling shortcuts are very important. A minute save. When you're going to save a minute, you can get 3 to 4 more questions correct. When you're going to save time, you are going to gain 3 to 4 questions correct. So skip hard question and then go in for easy questions. So you should approach the questions with the short tricks. Yes. Tip number 7. Very important. Revise important topics without skipping during your revision time. This is ultimately the most important thing. During a revision, revise all the important units and all the important chapters. Yes. Okay, you can take a screenshot. Physics, there are going to be certain units which is given over here. And for chemistry, there are certain units which are really important. When you are revising, please make sure not to skip any of these units. And for biology, there are certain units which is given over here. To be very specifically on biology, you have to concentrate a lot on human physiology, which is going to be 20%. And then very importantly, you have to concentrate a lot on genetics and evolution, which is principle of inheritance, molecular basis and evolution, which you are going to get 18% of your marks, and then comes the first unit. So these are important units where you should never skip during your time of preparations. Yes. The next tip number 9, yes, work on your speed and accuracy. Yes, this is really important because managing time during your examination is the most challenging thing that you can ever do. I told you the examination is for 3 hours. If you're going to manage biology for almost 50 minutes, you can save time. For biology, if you're going to spend almost 45 to 50 minutes for biology, if you're going to do it, then for 1 hour you can spend for chemistry, and the rest of the hours you can spend for your physics. And make sure you are answering the question accurately. That's very important point. Students need to keep a check on their accuracy. That's what I'm telling you, because we know that there's going to be 1 mark detection for every wrong answer. That's the most important thing ever. And always keep a stop clock or a stopwatch when you're practicing your mock test or anything. It's very important to see your time, because when you're going to see how much time you're taking for questions, then you will understand how you're lagging behind it. And you have to complete the exam within 3 hours. So make sure when you're doing any kind of practice mock test, so always keep a stopwatch with you while making any kind of test, and access how much time you're spending for it, so that you can increase your speed and your accuracy level during your examination. This is very important. Yes. Okay. The next one, tip number 10. Focus on your strength. This is very important. Some people might be very good enough in physics, in chemistry, or some might be in biology. So when you're going to talk about the topics, just focus on the strongest topic that you're well aware of, as well as on the strongest chapters and on your strength. So always concentrate a lot on your strongest point during your revision time. Yes. The next comes tip number 11. Keep the concepts very clear. Keep the concepts very clear, because in biology or in case of chemistry, if you are going to get conceptual questions, if your concepts are not clear, you are not able to answer your question. So during your preparation time, we are at the verge of preparation, or we are at the leg of preparation. During this time, make sure to keep your concept very clear. That's what I'm telling you, to have your stick notes stuck somewhere else in your book and revise it again and again. And I told you, every line, every word in NCERT is really important. Yes. Next tip number 12. Build the exam temperament. Yes, this is very important. Exam fear. There's going to be exam fear, or we can say exam temperament. You have to face the exam temperament. So what's going to happen over here is, you are already known that the exam is going to be here, and you know revision is done and the alarm is set, but you still cannot fall asleep, right? Yes. So what's going to happen over here? You might be having a lot of trauma in yourself, having negative thoughts. So this is the result of exam temperament. So what you can do is, in order to face this one, you have to develop a lot of confidence in yourself, and you should develop a lot of positive attitude in yourself. Suppose, let's take, how do I have to face the exam temperament during examination? This can happen before examination as well as during examination. Suppose if you are seeing some kind of question which is going to be very harder, and do not get nervous seeing that question, because not all the questions are going to be harder. Skip the hardest questions and proceed on with the next question, which is going to be easier. And then if you have time, then come and approach the hard questions. So how you're going to face the exam is going to be a biggest deal, I can say. So face exam temperament. Develop a good exam temperament, very important. No more exam fear, and practice. This is how you can actually overcome exam fear. Practice a lot of questions, stick on as if you're writing your NEET examination for 3 hours. Try to handle situations during examination. This is how you should approach during your examination. And approach questions in a holistic way without tension. This is very important. If you're going to panic, you are going to end up with your wrong answer. So never panic, face the exam temperament, keep calm, relax, and proceed on. Yes. The next tip number 13. No new topics or units at the last moment. No new topics, no units, no new units at the last moment. So it will actually discourage you. So no more new units. You should concentrate at the last minute. And tip number 14, very important tip, good sleep. Good sleep. Many never used to sleep, so good sleep for almost 7 to 8 hours is really important, because if you're not going to have a good sleep, you cannot concentrate on your examination. So good sleep is really important. The next tip is, yes, be calm, be cool, be chill. So meditate and exercise. This is going to give you a lot of confidence at the last moment. So don't be panic. It's going to be very easy. The next final thought that I'm going to tell you is, sometimes do not leave a question before reading it. This is very important. Many used to do this mistake. Never leave a question without studying it or without reading it. When you see a big paragraph or lengthy question, many used to leave the question. But even we can say that sometimes the lengthy questions which you skip due to panic are the simplest one. Yes, you can miss the simplest answer over there. So read every question. If you're not knowing the answer, then go to the next question. Yes. Okay, keep calm, relax, chill. That's going to be done. Yes, it's time to get go of the fear and wait for the opportunities and success that is laid before you. Yes, yes. And the final note I'm going to tell you, for all of you who are preparing or who are getting ready for this NEET examination, very important, you are braver than you believe. Yes, you are really braver than you believe, and stronger than you seem, and very smarter than you think. Yes, the winner is you. So do not worry. Keep calm, focus, relax yourself, chill yourself, and you are going to get success, and the next winner is going to be you. Thank you all of you for joining. If you really like this video, just like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Biotechnica. Thank you for the time. Thank you for joining. Yes.